Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Eugene O'Sullivan, and it's my pleasure today to train you on this eFlex product. The eFlex product will allow you to submit your cases and filing submissions to the Kansas courts electronically. Before we begin, just want to bring your attention to your GoToMeeting console. That GoToMeeting console has a question box. If at any time during the training today you have a question, you're very welcome to type in your question, send it to me. It will flash on my screen here, and I will stop the training and attempt to answer the question. Now I want to bring your attention to what's on the screen. You can see I have a document open. Just want you to be aware that during today's training, I will be switching to a training site. The active website that you will use as an attorney is listed there. It's https://filer.kansascourts.org. That's KSCOURTS.org. You may want to have a pen and paper handy to take down a few items today. In just a few seconds, I will be switching to the live site to show you what that looks like and to show you how you can request your user account. Just be aware that if you accidentally use the other URL address that I will display in a few minutes, that one will not get serviced. I have some key telephone numbers on the screen for you. If you have a technical problem or if you have a problem with database error on the screen, you're very welcome to contact toll-free support line, which is 844-892-3721. If at any time you have a question regarding judicial procedure with electronic documentation and what you need to submit or how to submit a certain document, you can contact Kansas Judicial Branch support at 785-368-7275. Also be aware that during once you have your account created, they will send you a welcome package. There will be some links provided for you. Those links are there again just to remind you of training videos as well as e-filing references. With that, let me go ahead and minimize this document, and let's show you the active production website that you will use in the background here. Scrolling on down the screen, you will see that we have the login section, bottom right corner. You will see that once your username and account has been approved, you'll be able to log in here. And for those of you who don't have a current account, you can see that the new user account request button is there at the very bottom right. This is the one you will use, and at this point in training, I am going to switch to another site. It looks like somebody else is arriving right now. Just let me wait for them because they in turn will need to know this address. For the person who just arrived, I want to bring your attention to the URL address. You will need to, sorry, it looks like she's not got her microphone active. This message is for Laura. Laura, the active website that you will use to request your user account, I have highlighted in the top left corner. It's https://filer.kscourts.org. This is the one you will need to use to request your user account. I'm switching to a training site right now, so the URL address will change. This will allow me to create cases and submit filing submissions without interfering with the live system. Just before I go away from this page, just want to bring you your attention to another page that you can access. It's Tiberia.com. Let me go back one screen. This is the developers of the product. In the middle column, towards the bottom, you will see that we have support pages linked for the different states that we service. Kansas is listed there. Just click on Kansas. It will bring you up all the Kansas information here. This is just another resource for you. With that, I'm going to close down the active website, and now I have switched to the training site. This is the one I will use. Looks identical at the very in all screen captures and everything, so everything should look familiar to you once you go on the live site. Let's show you how to request that user account. Going down to the very bottom right corner, I'm going to click on Request Account. And the very first thing we're presented with is, during a series of screens in creating the account, is the user agreement. In order for you to proceed, you do have to read the applicable administrative orders and rules. You can get those by clicking on the words terms of use. and then click the appropriate radio button directly underneath that. Clicking submit will then bring you on to another screen called the user role. We have to define what type of role you are when you're working with this product. There's basically two types. One is an attorney, two is an attorney/financial administrator. Whoever is in charge of the credit cards or charges to in a firm, they have to have an attorney's account to do this. They will be the ones that are responsible for creating the wallet accounts, whereby you can register your credit card information, and that credit card information will be used then to pay for the statutory filing fees, etc. If you're not in charge of that, you will select the attorney role. You will get a slightly different menu on the system, and I'll explain that in just a few seconds. For demonstration purposes, I'm just going to use the attorney role, and I'm going to go ahead and click next. The next screen that we have to choose from is we need to associate the user account with a company account. Now, the existing companies are available to you by clicking the drop-down arrow or clicking in the text box. If your company is already set up to use that, simply go ahead and click on the company name, and then that will associate your user account with that particular company. If it's not listed there, that company account, you can go ahead and create the company account by clicking on the new radio button and type in your company name in here into this text box. It will create the company account and automatically associate your username with it. For demonstration purposes, I'm going to go back up to existing, and I'm going to go ahead and click Jason Bush Law Firm. So my account will be associated with that company, and I'm going to go ahead and click next. And we actually get to the actual form we need to fill out. Now, if you look at the very top line on this particular page here where I'm highlighting, you will notice that the previous screens that we have come through are in blue. If you make a mistake, you just simply click on those blue links at the top. It will jump you back in the process. You can correct the error and then move forward by clicking next. As we go down through this, you'll notice that all of the pages that we visit have a title on them. They're in that kind of a purpley blue font at the very top right there, and we're on this one as request a user account. The company name that we have selected is Jason Bush, and so therefore this is your chance to double check to make sure that's correct. Now, anything with an asterisk is required. The username has to be your bar number. Some people will have a 4-digit bar number, others will have a 5-digit bar number. If you have a 4-digit bar number, you will be required to put a 0 in front of that number in order to make it a 5-digit. So if your bar number was 1, 2, 3, 4, you'll put in 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. The password is required twice, second time for confirmation. Just be aware with this password that the password will expire upon the very first login. You will be required to recreate a new password as a security measure on the first login. Moving on further down on the form, first name, last name, bar number are required. Also the email address. Now this is important. Whatever information you have registered with the Kansas Attorney Registration, you will have to put that information in here. Failure to do that will cause your account to be rejected. The email address is required twice, second time for confirmation. Also be aware that once the account is approved, you can then change that email address and update that should you wish to change the routing of the notifications. So initially you need the one that's registered. After that, you're free to edit and update that to the where you want to have the notifications come to you. We do provide an opportunity for you to add additional email addresses. Those email addresses are listed there, 1 and 2. Should you require any other individuals to receive updates, simply put their email addresses in there. If you have more than two, you can go ahead and create a distribution list with your IT department, and they will then give you an associated email account, and that email account then will notify all the individuals in the distribution list. Underneath that, we have a company address. That particular company address is important. Just be aware that whatever address is entered in here, and you can update this later on if you so wish, will automatically be ported into forms for you automatically. What that means for you, it just saves you the time and effort of having to constantly put in your contact information. It's automatically pulled from this particular form. At the very bottom, we do have a cancel submit button. Cancel will erase everything. The submit will start the process off. Normally, it takes them about 2 business days for them to approve the account, so you should have an email back notifying you on that. If you don't, you will want to check your spam folder or junk folder just in case it's been routed in there accidentally. If it has, go ahead and set the sender as a safe or trusted sender. If you don't have anything in your junk folder and you haven't heard back from them, please contact technical support at the number I gave at the very beginning. They will be able to help you and troubleshoot why the account has not been approved. I'm going to go ahead and click cancel here as I have my account already created. Going to scroll back on down again, and as you can see, I have my username and password already entered, and I'm just going to click on the login button. Let us quickly describe the screen we see here. This is what we call the home screen. If you're a paralegal in attendance today, just want to bring your attention to the top right corner. You will see the attorney that's logged in here, and obviously this is me, and the username they have on this one is Test Adams. So whatever attorney you're submitting filings for, you'll be able to confirm that you are logged in as them. The submissions will automatically be associated with this particular attorney. If you do have multiple attorneys, you will need to know the login name and the associated password for those logins. So the attorney does have to share those with you. A paralegal cannot have their own account. You are required to have a bar number for this product. Moving over to the left side of the screen, you'll notice we have 5 quick access buttons. These buttons are here for your convenience. For some reason, my highlighter is not staying lit. Let me see. I don't. Now it is. Okay. These are here for your convenience. They're the quick access buttons. They're the ones you most frequently use. These particular buttons are duplicated directly underneath the 2 drop-down menus that I've just pointed to under eFiling cases. So they're duplicated on there. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just basically going to explain this screen now. We have a logout button option up here. If you want to log out, simply click the logout option. The system will automatically log you out after 20 minutes of activity. What is deemed as activity is actually clicking these navy buttons. You can see over here we have navy buttons. This interacts with the server, and this lets the server know that you have an active session going on, and it will keep you logged in. If you do get logged out, system will not inform you. Nothing changes on your screen. But what happens is you will be required to log back in when you try to do anything else. So it will force you to log back in. Now the next admin button to the left is for those who have wallet accounts. I'm not going to go through this. The welcome package goes through this, but just to quickly show you what that looks like, it's where you can set up your account settings for the wallets, and the wallet accounts are listed down here, and you can add to those and you can remove them, and you can submit updates. Now there is a package of information that comes with your welcome package that will basically allow you to create those and inform you how to do that. I do not cover that during this training. If you have a regular attorney account, this option, admin, will not be available to you. Your logout will be directly next to profile. Now your profile is nothing more than a summary of the user profile that we filled out, and it basically will allow you to change the user profile, update the email address as I said, and also change your contact information, update email addresses as well. Also you have frequent parties listed here. If you have parties that you frequently file for, you can save their information, so that avoids you having to repetitively enter their contact information, etc. You can manage these here, and you can delete the parties. I'll show you where you can add those later on. You can also change password here, as well as changing password from the drop-down menu. You need to know your current password, and that will allow you to change it to a new password. Login history is kept as a security measure. It records all the successful and unsuccessful login attempts. What's most important here is date, time stamp, and IP addresses on the furthest right column. You will notice that if we have an IP address, we can find out who owns that. If it's internal to your company, the individual, your IT department would be able to help you with that. And if it was an external company, we could identify the company. The third-party company would have to provide you with the username for that information. With that, we have furthest left is the home button. If at any time you want to jump back to that home screen, and by clicking the word home will do that. So the product is a series of screens, and each screen has its own individual functionality. Want to quickly bring your attention to notifications. You'll see that there is a numerical value to the right of the notification button. This is a reminder of you that if there's a pending issue, and in this case I have 3 unread notifications pending my review. I want to show you what happens when you log out of the system. By clicking the word log out, the system will double check to see if you have any draft filings. And as you can see, I have 4 draft filings. These are filings I have created but have not submitted to the courts. They reside on the system as they reside temporarily on the system. You'll notice to the furthest right column, the days until deletion. You have 60 days to work with these draft filings. If after the 60 days you have not used them, they will basically be erased from the system. So the system is asking me a question. You can see it in the red text at the very top. It says, you have incomplete filings. Are you sure you want to log out? And if I say yes, it will continue the logout process. If I say no, it will bring me to the draft files screen. And now to get manually to get that to that screen, you can click on eFile and go down to the very bottom option, which is draft filings. It will bring you to this screen. You'll see the 4 draft filings that we just saw previously, but notice the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th column from the left have blue links. To continue working with those filings, I would simply click on the blue links and then it will open up where we left off and I can continue on working with the filings. I can delete these manually by clicking the check boxes on the left side of the screen and clicking the delete button. With that, I'm just going to click on home again and we're going to initiate a case in just a few minutes. Before we start, let's talk about document signatures. Now, one of the documents that you'll get in your welcome package is, I believe it is Administrative Orders 268, will have on page 4, section E, particular information how to sign electronic documents. So I'm not going to cover that here, but that's where the information is located. The one thing I want to address is what type of documents can we submit to Kansas. Generally, the system will accept 99% of the PDF documents. We do have an exception to the PDF rule. They like PDFs because of 2 reasons. First, they appear identical on Mac machines as well as PC machines. And the other one is the contents of a PDF document is finalized, means it's very difficult to change the contents. So it adds a level of integrity and security to the document you submit. However, because of orders, we have an exception. For clerk-signed documents or proposed orders for the judge to sign, they need to be editable, and since PDF is not editable, we cannot submit in PDF. The following formats are acceptable to submit documents: Microsoft Word, the older DOC, and the newer DOCX, as well as rich text formats. It does require you to convert your documents to these formats. So you would have to do File, Save As, and make sure you're saving as an RTF document, or DOC or DOCX. Simply changing the extension is not converting the document. Just a quick word about affidavits and exhibits. At some time or another, you will be required to scan documents. Those particular documents need to be scanned in black and white or color. They will accept both. They need to be scanned into PDF documents. The newer scanners do that. If you have an older scanner, it may not scan directly to PDF, but simply downloading one of those free third-party PDF print drivers will allow you to convert images on your screen by selecting File, Print As, and then selecting the PDF print driver will convert the document to a PDF for you. Just be aware that we have some limitations on the size of documents. Those size of documents need to be, the maximum size a document can be is 10 megabytes, and the maximum we can send at any one time is 30 megabytes. So you can send as much as you want. It's going to go in 30 megabyte chunks. The maximum per document is 10 megabytes. Just want you to be aware that when you submit a motion and proposed order, they must be separated as two separate documents. And we'll show you how to add those documents later on. Not these particular ones, but we'll show you how to pick up the categories in question. We just discussed the maximum size documents can be, and we covered that. And just be aware that with Douglas County, the maximum size a document can be is 3 megabytes. So if you have to split your documents, you're going to have to name them. We say motion of appearance part 1 of 2, and then the second one would be motion of appearance part 2 of 2. And just be aware you will be required to upload them chronologically so that they can be downloaded chronologically as well. With that, that covers our issues regarding what type of documents. Let's go ahead and start our case. Since we're doing case initiation, we have a choice of either doing new case or clicking the new case button on the screen, which I am doing. Before we begin, let's talk about the process in doing case initiation. There's basically 4 steps. The first step is to define the court, the case category, the case type, add the participants, and that's the most laborious part of it. The second part is adding the supporting documentation, and then the third part will be to review and approve the filing for submission, and make payment if necessary. And not all documents being submitted require payment, such as an answer, etc. And finally, fourth, we will verify that it actually got to the courts. We will be looking for a timestamp on that. If we have deadlines, we have to make sure we meet those deadlines. And we'll discuss that later on. So I have 2 choices here. I have the appellate courts or the district courts. If you wish to choose appellate court, you will have to receive special permission from the Kansas Judicial Branch support in order to do that. Your account has to be modified, and so you can contact at the number I gave you earlier for them. However, I'm going to go ahead and use the district courts. And clicking on that will bring me up all the case category that I can select from: adoption, care and treatment, civil, criminal, etc., right down to traffic at the very bottom there. So I'm going to do a civil case today, so I'm going to click on the word civil. And this will bring me to the different civil case types available for me to choose. And I'm going to do a contractual issue. So I'm going to go down to close to the bottom where it says Other Contract. Clicking on that then will allow me to initiate the participants in the case here. You can see again on the top line here that I'm highlighting, the previous screens are in blue. I can always jump backwards if I made a mistake. The title of this particular screen is Case Initiation, Other Contract. And so therefore I can verify that I have the right document in question, or the right case type in question. The client number is the first item. It's not a required field, but if you do have an internal reference for your client, go ahead and pop that in there. What it allows you to do is it will, any charges incurred in filing of the case will allow you to appropriate those charges back to your client. There is a way to do that, and I'll show you that towards the end of the training. The next one is the court location. On the live system, you'll have a full selection of courts. I'm just going to go ahead and click on the testing court right here. So I'm clicking the appropriate court. The next item down is a jury option. Now, my understanding was that they were going to have this removed, so this may not be available for you on the live system, but let's assume that they maybe have changed their mind. So we have a choice of non-jury or jury, and so it's a default non-jury, but if I had a jury demand, I'd click the jury radio button. That doesn't excuse the need to add the supporting documentation. You still have to add your supporting documentation. All this does is electronically inform that there is a jury demand on the case. Now, the next item down is important. We have 2 categories here. We have a subject category. You will need to enter a subject if you have these following case types, such as adoption, care and treatment, probate. And to add that subject, etc., down there is a you'll see 5 buttons horizontally across the screen. In this question, let me go ahead and highlight that. You will add the subject by clicking on this particular button. Now also be aware that because you're entering information here for the plaintiff, defendant, etc., there is no need for a cover sheet. This information here will be the same information that would be on a cover sheet, so it removes the requirement when you file electronically for a cover sheet. Now, if you're filing for a juvenile case here, you will have to add in other parties in here. And so therefore, these will tell you what type of cases and which ones to make sure you add down here. Now, I'm going to just do a civil case. I'm not going to do any of these cases up here. And so what I am going to do here is I'm simply going to add a plaintiff and a defendant over here on the left side of the screen. So let me clean off the screen here and go ahead and add a plaintiff to the case. So I'm clicking add a plaintiff, and I've opened up a form for me to fill out. The form has 3 sections. Just going to divide that into 3. I'm going to start at the top right hand corner. You will see that Test Adams is listed here. This is where is my user account. It's automatically going to associate my... Sorry, I'm having problems here with the highlighter. It seems to want to disappear by itself. They've changed the color of it, so I know they've done some changes to it. Let me try this again. This is the Test Adams up here, and it's pulled that information down here, and it has deposited that information in here. So Adams here is listed as the representing counsel of record for this particular plaintiff. My bar number is listed right here, and you don't get the opportunity to remove this one, even though there's a red X. Whoever's submitting the case has to be a counsel of record on the case going through with it. Now we have the opportunity of adding additional attorneys for this party, simply adding in the last name and bar ID number. Just to be circumspect, make sure you get the spelling of the last name correct. It avoids any issues if there's any checking process done upon submission. It will avoid rejection if they check on that. Simply clicking the add button will take this information here and deposit it down beneath the word Adams here. I'm not going to do that. I don't want to have my case rejected, so I'm simply just going to leave it at Adams. Now, bottom right section is where we can add the aliases. Just be aware that this alias section is in reference to the plaintiff up here and not the law firm. The law firm does not enter its aliases in here. Let me clean the screen and go ahead and come over to the left side of the screen. Now, if I frequently file for this individual, once I have the form filled out, there is an option to click Save Party up here, and that will allow me then to save all that information for future reference. If I have saved it, then I can also load the party from previously saved information by clicking Load Party, and I can pick up that individual and it will fill out this form automatically for me. Now, moving on down to the next line is we have a choice of whether this is a company information or personal information of a person. So I'm going to do company-to-company litigation, so I'm going to click that radio button next to company. You'll notice that some of the text boxes will be blocked out. The required fields are the only ones you can fill in. So first name, middle name are blocked out to me. The last name is available, or business name. So today's litigant is Monson Machinery. Just be aware that whatever way we enter that, whether it's upper, lower case, or all caps, it will be preserved. So if there is a standardized format in Kansas, you will need to put that in, enter that text accordingly. Moving on down the list, we're going to go down to a telephone number. You can put that telephone number with the parentheses and enter that in here. Mailing address is the next item down. Let's go. This is 1 Monson Avenue. City is Monsonville, and the state is Kansas. So I'm going to click the letter K. It brings me directly to Kansas and put in a zip. Grab that zip, and so I filled out the form for the plaintiff. I'm going to save that by clicking the Save button. If I had clicked the back button, it would have erased everything. By clicking the save, it does save it and deposit it into the previous screen. This is where we came from. So now we have Monson Machinery added. You'll notice Monson Machinery is in blue. If I need to update that information on Monson's contact information, I can do so by clicking Monson Machinery. Moving to the right, we're in the role column. It's clearly identifying that the Monson Machinery is the plaintiff in the case, so I can verify that. And the attorneys representing the party will be listed here. If I had added any additional attorneys, they would also be listed here. Moving over far left side of the screen, we have a red X. If I added the wrong person as a plaintiff, I can remove Monson Machinery really quickly by clicking that red X, and it will remove out that from the submission package. Now, to the right of the red X is a clone icon. This is very handy if you have multiple plaintiffs in the case and their contact information is similar, such as a husband and wife plaintiff team. You can go ahead and click on that clone icon. It will fill out the form that we just came from, and it will allow you to edit the information that's changed and quickly save it so you add up multiple plaintiffs at the same time. Now, I'm going to go ahead and add the defendant by clicking Add Defendant. Similar form. I'll be a little bit faster here. Clicking on the left, it's going to be company-to-company litigation. Party types are available to me in the drop-down menu here. I think I forgot to mention that previously. So you'd have all the plaintiff type party types. So you can change those if you so wish. It's a company-to-company, and today's company is Taylor Tools LLC. Moving on down, let's pop in a telephone number for them. And let's get down to a mailing address. And since I've entered this information previously, it does pop it up automatically for me. That's because my browser keeps that in the background. With that, I've added my party. I'm going to go ahead and click Save. Oh, sorry. Let me come over to the right side. I'm not going to add an attorney since I don't know who's going to represent Taylor Tools, but I can add an alias for Taylor Tools if I so wish. I'm going to go ahead and do that just to show you how to do that. This is where you'll do your DBAs, your FDBAs. Let's say they formerly did business as, and since this is a company, we're just going to put in TT LLC and click Add. And it creates a list of the aliases there for us. Again, any errors we can remove with the red X. Clicking Save will save that, and we'll add that to the package of information going. So now we have a plaintiff and a defendant. Now, if you notice, because we have a plaintiff and defendant, we have a new button at the bottom. It's called Save to Draft. Also, from this point forward, that next button will do two functions. It will automatically save to draft and move you to the next screen. And so that's basically what we want to do. So we've completed step 1. We're going to step 2. This is where we'll add our supporting documentation. And you'll always know you're at step 2 because it will state add a document. Now I'm going to skip over no, I'm not going to skip over. I'm going to go down and fill out the form. We're going to do a pleading today, so we're going to go into document categories and click on pleadings. Basically, this changes the number of document types available to us in the category of pleading. And you will see here that any document we wish to submit electronically to the Kansas courts has to be defined, and that's why there's an asterisk next to the document type. So I'm going to click the down arrow, and we'll see all the pleadings available. And so this is going to be a petition, and the document title is going to be breach of contract, so between the two parties. Now, you'll notice that the document title is also required. Just be aware that if I'll show you how to add a document. If a document is not available for you to select, I'll show you how to select a generic document type, and then you will classify that by clearly writing in the document title of the document you're submitting. And so that will allow you to submit documents that may not be immediately available on the screen for you. So these two will be joined up, so I usually avoid any redundancy by not putting in the word petition on the document title line. So next item down is if this is an emergency document, you can check that checkbox, or if it's a seal, go ahead and do that, and the date of the order to seal is available for you today. You can click the calendar to the right. It will allow you to pick out the date from the calendar, or you can type it in directly with your keyboard. Now, the system does prompt you for the appropriate document type. Remember, we basically had 99% are PDF. The issue was with proposed orders and signature documents for the clerks to sign. So if there is one of those, if you did a proposed order, then it will prompt you for the correct document format there. Now, the next section down below the highlighted area is we need to tell the system where that document is located on our computer. To do that, we click on the Browse button. That Browse button will open up, and let me see where we're going to go here. I need to go into Kansas. And so I'm in the Kansas folder, and now I'm going to go into Monson's documents here. I have my documents prepared. Here was the breach of contract. The breach of contract was authored in Word. I converted that to PDF, and so the PDF document converted that, doing File Save As. So now I have it here, and usually I can do part 1 or part 2 of those if I was going to do the splitting of documents. So I'm just going to do the first one, click Open. All that does right now is put in the reference to where the document is located on the computer. Nothing has been uploaded yet. I'm going to go ahead and click the Add button. The Add button allows it to be pulled up and saved temporarily on the servers until I get to step 3, where we do the submission process. So I'm clicking Add, it grabs that document, and so basically it's creating a draft filing in the background for me. You can see that we have the back button moved to draft and next at the very bottom. So just let's look at the document that we added. So here's the pleading, petition, breach of contract. We have the document in question here on the right. Notice that it's in blue, and that's the actual physical document that we've uploaded. To verify that, you can click on that and verify that it is indeed the correct document added. Now, the document sizes are listed here. Remember, we talked about limitations. No need for a calculator. There is a running one on the screen here. Remember, the maximum size of document was 10 megabytes. Total being sent at any one time, the maximum is 30 megabytes. Page counts are also available to you on those documents, and if we added the wrong document, you'll notice that there's a red X in the furthest right column, especially for this particular pleading. We can remove that from the package if we made a mistake. Now, directly above that is another document. It's called case data. Just want you to be aware that this is the backbone of the document. What's contained in here is step 1. All the information regarding the plaintiff, defendant, court location, case category, case type, etc., are all located in this physical file called form.xml. We can edit that if you wish to update any of that information we entered on step 1. The document size is fine. There's no limitation issues. And so now we're free either to move on and submit it to the courts, or we can go back up and add some more supporting documentation. I want to do another pleading document. I want to go ahead and do a summons. Now, there are 2 types of summons available to you. An electronic summons, which is the one I've highlighted here. It's just called PLE:summons. Or if you're doing a third-party summons, you will choose this particular one. Now, if you do choose this one, you are required to add a physical document, well, an electronic document, as we just did for the petition. So just be aware that that will require an electronic document created by you to be uploaded by you. Now, if I do the electronic summons, which I am doing, this will create the document electronically for me. And so to do this, I'm just going to put in a document title. Let's say this is a summons for Jim Taylor, the owner of Taylor Tools. Moving on back down, you'll notice the Browse button is grayed out. I cannot select it because why would I? It's going to create an electronic document. So when you encounter a situation like this, the next step is to click the Add button. This will pull the electronic document and request you to fill out some information. So I'm clicking the Add button. It's going to pull the electronic document, and this is the instructions for service. The service data is available to you here. We have the chapter types, 60, 61, 61 eviction. Days for response, etc. So basically you'll fill out this particular form, the issuance date, etc., and move on down to the next section. Service type is available. Let me see. Let's do first class mail. Let's leave it at the default. The name and address of the plaintiff's attorney. Now remember, my name is Test Adams, and this has automatically been filled out. It's been pulled from my user account, as I've mentioned previously. We can select the party and address to be served down here. So this is for Taylor Tools, so we can go ahead and that will put in all the information for Taylor Tools right into this particular document right here. And finally, we need to inform them of the documents to be served. So we're going to attach the summons to this particular breach of contract. And to do so, we select the appropriate document. Now, I would have more than one document if I had added all my documents out there. They would be listed here, so I'd pick the appropriate one. And then I click Add. And this basically associates the electronic summons with that. And there we go. I had to do, for some reason, I had to do 2 clicks. So now you can see this particular summons associated with the petition breach of contract. If I chose the wrong document, red X will allow me to remove that. Finally, at the bottom, we have the back, which will erase everything, not save any electronic documents. Click Next will save everything, deposit the electronic summons into the documents being submitted to the courts. So now you can see that particular document being listed here, PLE summons, Jim Taylor, and at this point in time, if you wish to have a soft copy of the summons, you can click on View Generated Data. It will open up that particular document with Adobe Acrobat, which I'm going to go ahead and do. And this will be your electronic summons going to the courts. Now, there is a special method in how to service these particular summonses, and so I'll tell you that in just a minute once we get to that point. So with that, what I want to do is I want to show you how to do a generic document. And let's pretend I want to do an external exhibit to the case. Now, the exhibits could be included in the complaint or in the petition itself, and that's fine. If they are, they'll get their own individual timestamps. In fact, all these documents being submitted will get their individual timestamps. The timestamps will look something like this. Top right corner, it will state it's electronically filed, the date and the time, and the court location and case ID number once the clerk files with that. And so now I was going to do the generic one. So I'm going to do information. The document type can be information generic. And this is where we can type in the document title that we're submitting. So let's say this is Exhibit 345, cancel check. Let's browse for the cancel check. So I've scanned the image on the cancel check. And let me go find a document that is... No, it's not there. Okay, I'm just going to grab a document here just to move on. Let's pretend that this is my scanned image in PDF of my cancel check. And I'm just going to simply add that to the case. So there's my title on the document name, and this would be technically my scanned image. Once I've all this done, I've completed all the documents. I am ready to submit them to the courts. Oh, by the way, if you are seeking indigency for your client, this would be the appropriate time to add that supporting documentation. At the bottom, we have Move to Draft. We can save everything that we've added so far, or we can save to draft and move on to step 3, which I am doing. Now, because we're initiating a case, we're incurring a fee here, and so we have a section here called Payment Method. Now, if we were doing an answer, as I said previously, this section would not be available to you. The wallet accounts will be presented from you, and so we can click on the appropriate wallet account, and this would be also where you would select your waiver for that indigency that you may be requesting. So this will bypass the payment process if I choose that. However, I'm going to go ahead and process the payment through the wallet account. Next section down is the generated XML data. Now, XML data is step 1. If you wish to change the contact information for the plaintiff, defendant, court locations, etc., you can do so by clicking the Change Filing Information button. It will jump you back to step 1. you simply progress yourself through step 2, step 3 again to approve it finally this next time. The documents being submitted are available to you here. You can see that the 3 of the manual documents we have added. The 4th document is not available to us. That was the case data. As I mentioned, that's the backbone of the case. You don't get to remove that. And so, so this will summarize the manual documents you have added, and you can click Add Remove Documents to jump you back to step 2 and make any corrections. Finally, if you have any special filing instructions for the clerk, you can enter those in the available text box. And finally, at the bottom, we have a new button. It's called the Cancel Delete button. If you select that button, it will delete everything we've done today regarding this case submission. And so that's a complete erase, so just be aware of that. We can move it to draft, or we can submit the filing to the courts. Let's go ahead and submit that filing to the courts. It will process the payment. It takes a couple of seconds for this to go through, so just be aware. Well, actually, it's a little bit faster. So it's processing in the background right now. So it's saying your filing has been submitted. The credit card is being charged right now. Now, the last part of the thing is what we need to verify is that did it actually get to the courts, or is there a problem? Do we meet our deadlines? And so that's what we're going to do right now. For this particular filing, we can look at the filings for today. And so we're going to check the filing status. And so filing status is available to you here by clicking under e-filing statuses, or you can quickly click on this filing status button, which will bring you up the filing for today. So you can see that the filing ID number down here in this section is 7745. The 3 documents we manually added are available to us. The electronic summons is not available to view. It's been sent, but we can't view it from here. That's why I said if you want to keep a record, download it from the View Generated Document button. The client ID number is listed, the date submitted. Now, we don't have a case title or the court case number. Clerk hasn't filed it yet. The date time submitted is listed here, and all that information is all available. Going to the furthest column on the right, under status, you'll see that it's received. Now, it went through several by the time I got here, and it was package, package pending, sent, received. When you get to received, this is when it's recorded as being received by the court servers. Timestamp is applied to it. Now, this is important because this is your safe harbor timestamp. I'm going to explain what that is. To view the timestamps, click on the word received. It will open up the status for you on the filing. The status has changed from received to awaiting approval on the top. Now, this is the clerk's line. The clerk will come, whether it's later on or the following day, and will file the case for you. A timestamp is recorded here. However, if you had a deadline at midnight and there's no clerk in the office, the timestamp of submission is your safe harbor timestamp. So if your deadline was midnight, this is the timestamp that they will meter you against. Now, assuming there's no problems with the case, the clerk then will make that the official filing timestamp, will create assign case title and court case number to the filing. So this will be your filing stamp right here. Do not confuse the 2 filing timestamps. This is the one you're really concerned about. Now, if you do have a problem, your reference is the filing ID number is your reference. Clerk tracking ID number, this is the one that the clerk will use. Providing this number to the clerk will help the clerk find the filing and address any issues you may have. At this point forward, you do have to contact the clerk to deal with any issues. Down here are the documents listed. Obviously, no receipts available to us from the courts. Let's show you how to find your receipts. Clicking back, it's going to bring me back to the previous screen. I'm going to show you up here how to do a date range here. This particular line will, sorry, as you can see, I'm having problems with the highlighter. It will not stay highlighted for me. Okay, this one and this one here will allow you to put in a date range. You can search back by clicking on the calendar. So I'm going to go back a month or 2. I'm going to pull up some old filing statuses. And so I'm going back to the 9th of August. And now this particular screen is not automatic. You do have to manually pull from the database. To do that, you click the word go, it checks the database, pulls that information, and populates the bottom portion of the screen. Now, you'll notice at the furthest right column, we have different statuses. Some are filed, some are awaiting approval. Let's go and show the ones that are filed. This means the clerk has filed it and receipts are issued. To find the receipts section, just simply scroll down. You'll get a new section called the response section. You can view your printable receipt, and these particular documents are available to you. They will have the timestamps that I showed you previously on here, and these are the ones you will service. Now, I talked about servicing the electronic summons. Let's talk about that. Here is the receipt for the summons of Jim Taylor. So we'll print out the complaint. We'll print out the summons, and then we'll take those to a service provider. Whether it's a private company or the sheriff's department, you will then pay them directly to service the document, and in turn they will go out and service the document. Now, in turn, they can, for you, update the respective clerk of the court, or they can update you, and then you are required to update the clerk of the court on the servicing of those documents. So you have a choice in that method. So clicking back will bring me back here. So this will show you how to find your documents. Let's talk about a situation whereby your filings have been rejected for one reason or another. I have one there listed third from the bottom. So let's go down to that. You'll notice that the rejected one has a button to the right called resubmit. If you get rejected, it means that it's been pulled away from the courts. Courts don't have it. The reason for the rejection will be listed here in this particular line here. So you will be required to come in here, read the reason, understand the reason, and then go back out and correct the problem. So to get back out, go down to the very bottom, click back, and then you'll click the resubmit button. The resubmit button will clone the filing for you with the error. Then it will allow you to correct the error, and you'll resubmit that to the courts. So that's the process in doing a rejected status. Now, we've covered draft filings, we've covered filing statuses. I'm going to come back to existing cases to do follow-up filings. We've done new filing, or new cases. Let's talk about case management. All the cases that we have electronically worked with are available to us here. Now, if you're looking for documentation that has filing timestamps, it will always be under the case history. Now, so therefore, it will be under cases. And you notice that we have two columns on this particular screen that are active with links. We have the case ID number, and we have the certificate of service. To see the documents that are listed, you can see them listed here by clicking on the plus symbol. You can also get a history of that by clicking on the case ID number. So let's go ahead and look at the history on the second case down, 7-4, and that will bring me up the case history on that. So we can see the documents submitted on this. Now, there's some information on this that may be of interest to you. First section up here is the title, case ID number, and the district courts. Section here to the right is the judge assigned. So we have David King, Division 14, non-jury demand, and that information is available to you here. Now, if there's been an answer to the case, we can see the counsel of record by clicking on the plus symbol. It will open up the counsel of records, the plaintiff, defendant, counsel of record for each of those parties will be available to you once they have been associated with the case. So this is the case history. These documents have the timestamps on them, so this is where you'll find that documentation. You'll get documents in notifications as well, but they will not have the timestamps. Let's quickly talk about the line how to search. You can actually pull up case histories by going into the case number. You probably need permission to get to the appellate courts. So if you don't have permission for the appellate courts, you're going to have to select the district court and the county that's in question, and a participant's last name. Don't have to get the spelling exactly right on the participant's last name. Perhaps counsel of record, judge's last name may be more appropriate, but it uses fuzzy logic here to find it. You can actually pull the history from here, and you can also pull the certificate of service. Let's look at a certificate of service with this product. You will be simply clicking on the certificate of service will open up that certificate of service for you. What's important here is because we're using a system electronically, some individuals will have access to the system electronically, other individuals will not. For those individuals that do not have electronic access to the system, their information will be listed here on this particular section. Everyone listed beneath this highlighted area, and specifically tailored tools in this case, will require conventional notification like you currently do now. Any other participant in the case who receives electronic notification will be listed in this section. Those individuals will already have been notified electronically and do not require you to conventionally notify them. So therefore, the work has already been done for you. They've received an electronic notification, and basically Test Adams has received electronic notification on behalf of Monson Machinery, their client. And so this will help you to determine who you notify. And so that's available to you on this screen as well. Let's go down to notifications. Clicking on the word notifications opens up all the notifications we received, the dates, etc. The documents are also available here directly underneath the unread or read notifications. You can discern the difference between the two by seeing the bolded blue text for unread and the non-bolded blue text and a white envelope with red text. To read the notification, simply click on the bolded blue text. It will open up that information for you. You'll have the date, time stamps. You'll also have the particular service list in here as well. Certificate of service is available in there. You have to manually mark these as read. So I'm going to mark this one as read, and it will change that to the white envelope, non-bolded blue text. If I come out to home, you'll notice now that my reviews, my notifications are down to 2 from 3 because I've read that. Let's go back to notifications. You manage these by clicking the checkboxes on the left. You can delete them. You can mark them as read or unread. Filing charges. Filing charges are available to you on a month-by-month basis. The current month will be displayed to you. The previous months are available by selecting one of the previous 11 months. It looks like they may have, oh, hang on, I know what I did. I need to click December. So you can see on the month of December, I had Monson Machinery versus Taylor Tools. I filed for them in that particular case in December. Notice that the client ID column is available to us here. You can see it's the second column from the left. We can sort this by double-clicking the column, or sorry, clicking once on the column heading. It will sort these alphabetically for you, sending or descending, whichever one you want, which is handy because it will group all the charges for that particular client into that particular section, and then if you have multiple charges in a particular month, you can appropriate the charges back when you're doing your accounts and invoice them correctly. So we've covered all the options in case. The last thing we need to cover is existing cases. Now, we use existing cases to do follow-up filings. And we can do, whether they're opposing counsel follow-up filings or whether they're just regular follow-up filings, they can be both done from this page. Let me get my highlighter going. If it's an opposing counsel follow-up filing, you will then need to be able to associate yourself with the case. And again, my highlighter doesn't want to work. So basically, these are the 4. If you can, I don't know if you can see, yeah, you can see me. All of the screens are basically leaving traces on the screen, but on my screen I don't see any traces. So basically, court location, case ID number, participant's last name, you can add that. You can then click submit. If you wish to add it to your list of cases, you can do so. You can click submit, and this will then open up this information for you on this particular case, and then you can file to that case. So that's how you do opposing counsel follow-up filings. If you're doing regular follow-up filings, you will be able to move on down here to cases that you've already created. You'll notice that you have the case titles in blue. This will allow you to do the follow-up filing to them. So by clicking the title of the case, we can do a follow-up filing to that. So let's go ahead and do a follow-up filing for Monson Machinery on this. Now, first thing you'll notice is that we're at a document screen. And remember, I said that was step 2. So let's say this is a generic document. I'm going to do an. Do I have let me see if I have an answer. I'm going to do information. Going to browse for that particular document. I have my answer here that will work, and I'm going to add that to the package going to the courts. I have a question. Actually, I got two questions. Just one moment. First question is from Laura. Laura's asking about videos, PowerPoint, webinar doesn't address any of the issues, specifically probate filings. Laura, I will send that information on to the my contact in Kansas to address that issue and see if I can get any follow-up from her. When and if I do, I will contact you. Would you be so kind as to send me your email address in the question box? That way I have reference to it, and then I will be able to email you back with an update on that. Julia has a question. If we are filing follow-up documents for a case which we have never e-filed on before, should we treat it as a new or existing? You will have to treat it as a new or existing case. Sorry, no. A new case would be the ones that you would initiate. You would have to treat it as an existing case. So where I showed you how to fill out the form to find the case, that section will be the one you use. You will do your answer to the case. Once you're approved to be represented in the case, then it will appear in your associated cases, and then you'll be able to do follow-up filings to that particular case. So initially it will be the opposing counsel follow-up filing. You will have to be able to find that. And so that's your challenge on that particular screen. And so that's what I'm doing right here, right now. I'm basically providing an answer to the case. It could be a motion of appearance, whatever. You're very welcome, Laura. And basically, you're going to be doing what I'm doing right here. So just give me 1 second and I'll finish off this. So this is information generic, and just say this is the answer. Sorry, I actually had that done already. Let me just ignore all of that stuff. So I'm going to put it back to the blank one, so there's nothing in there. I've added the answer to the case down here at the very bottom. The file is right there. I'm going to click next. Because there is no charge involved, there's no payment option, so it's going to bypass payment here. No special filing instructions for the clerk. Submitting the filing or the answer to the courts, clicking OK. The answer's filed. I'm going to just double check that the answer got there, clicking the final status. This is very important, even though it seems a bit redundant. But it does check to make sure that the filing got there. If it was rejected for any technical reason, automatically or manually, you'll have the answer back here on this, and so this will allow you to deal with the issue. I clicked the Go button to refresh this screen. Remember, this screen needs to be refreshed and pulled from the database as the database changes its status. It is received. I'm always happy it receives, so I'm going to click on Received. I have a timestamp here. I now know it's at the courts, and what that implies is that it's not in my draft filings. So if you want to do a fifth step, you can check your draft filings. You should not see Monson Machinery listed in here, and I don't, because that particular filing has now gone through. It's no longer in draft filings. It is at the courts. So that has completed the demonstration today. If you have any questions, now is a great time to ask. If any of you mentions, let me just show you the document of the system. Thank you very much. This will just give you the information of the active website attorneys will use. This is where you will request your user account. Once that's requested and approved, you'll get notification back via email. Then you'll be able to log in with your email address and, sorry, with your bar number and your password that you defined. And then you'll be able to log in and use the system. So, and these are the technical support numbers available to you and the judicial branch support. Laura, I will be getting back with you on that. Again, anyone has any questions, please go ahead and ask right now. Otherwise, you are welcome to leave. And if I don't have any questions, I will terminate the webinar for everyone. You'll hear the automatic attendant shutting down the system, and you will be disconnected from your phone line as well as your computer speakers, etc. Okay, last call for questions. Okay, doesn't look like I'm getting any questions in here. So I just want to thank you for your time, your participation, and I will wish you a Happy New Year, and thank you for your attendance. I appreciate it. Have a good afternoon, everyone.